Hey everybody, this is Miss Huggins. Today I'm going to talk to you about tessellations. A tessellation is a pattern of flat shapes that is continuously repeated and fitted together with no gaps and no overlaps. So to make one of these, we will be using a pencil. You'll need an eraser, scissors, Scotch tape, an index card, and a post-it note if you have it, if that's all you have, and a white sheet of paper. You might need something to color with too. I'm going to actually use the stack of post-it notes to show me where to cut the index card. So if I just line this up with the corner, then I can do this, draw a straight line, cut, and then I can throw the rest of that away. I'll only need the square. When we're talking about tessellations in the art room, or if we were in the art room today, we would be looking at artwork from the famous artist M.C. Escher. But I'm so sorry that we're not able to have our art lesson today. Hopefully you've got something at home you can use to make this, and we can still have fun at home. So I've got my index card. Like I said, if you need to use this, you can use this for your tessellation pattern. I'll use the index card since it's more sturdy. So I've gone ahead and I've started this. This is what it will look like before you cut it, except you might do a different design. You might do totally different lines than I have drawn, but you'll need to draw 2 lines. Don't go crazy, because some of you might want to start doing really squiggly lines, and you just need to keep in mind that you're the one that has to cut it later. So don't go too crazy, because it'll be hard to cut with scissors later. So what I've done is I have left this corner untouched. This corner we really don't need to touch with scissors, because we're going to be taping some things over here later. It's going to turn into like our own little miniature puzzle. So I'm going to pay close attention to this corner, and this corner, leaving this corner untouched. All right, when I draw, I can do straight lines, curvy lines, but I don't want to get too close to the edge, and you'll see why later. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a design like I did earlier, which is this. Just one line starting here in this corner, and it ends in this corner. Corners are very important for this project. Line number 2 is actually going to, it's not going to cross over here, but it's going to touch the first line I drew just slightly. Going to come out. See, I'm doing a combination of straight and curvy, but I always end up back at a corner. All right, so there I have it. And just to help you keep everything straight, I have put an A and an A and a B and a B, so I know what goes where. I'm going to use my scissors next, and I'll need to cut only here and here. Don't need to cut anything over there. When you're doing this, it has to be one single cut, and you cannot discard anything. It's very important that you keep everything so that we can tape it all back together. All right, there's cut number 1. And here's the second piece. I'm going super slow because I don't want to make a mistake. And there you have it. Okay, so it's a good thing that I went ahead and I wrote A and B before I began. So now I know that A slides down to fit with the other A, and this B slides across to fit with this B. Okay, so here, 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 here. Now I'll use my Scotch tape to piece it together. Remember I said corners were very important? And actually, if you're using an index card, this can be helpful. You just line up those lines that are already on the index card, line those back up, get your corners to fit together, and you're good to go. All right. Let's see. Just want to make sure that there's no gap in between there. Okay. Now it's time to trace. You'll take your template and you'll take your white sheet of paper. I'm going to go ahead and make my paper go across instead of making it tall. I'm going to make it go this way. And let's go ahead and start in the middle somewhere. Just choose a spot in the middle of your paper to trace your template for the first time. It's really important that it stays still as you're tracing and that you trace it just as it is. Don't get in a hurry. You don't want gaps in between where you've drawn and where the actual template is. All right, so this hand stays very still and this hand moves around the template. All right, I'm getting up as close to that template as I can and tracing it ever so neatly. All right, here is the first one. Okay. All right, so now as I go all around my paper, it's going to move up, down, across, across. You're never going to turn this. You never turn it. You keep it facing the exact same way each time. So it really doesn't matter which direction you go. Just make sure that you get everything lined up. Hold it steady and then trace. Even if there's a little piece here that is still visible, you'll trace that on the paper. Even if you get to the far corners and there's just the edge that you need to trace that as well. So trace it until your paper is completely filled up. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about tessellations. Maybe you have seen someone tile a bathroom floor before. That is a type of tessellation because it's a geometric shape and they are all fitted together. Maybe you've looked at a piece of wrapping paper and seen a pattern that's been repeated over and over and over, or a piece of wallpaper, and it might be a floral pattern that's repeated over and over and over, so it would completely cover this. And it looks like I missed a spot. Looks like I missed a spot right here, so I'll need to go back and fix that. And then just continue on with tracing here, here. See here, I've already drawn that side, so I'll just need to pick up the tracing here. Okay, so let's look at what an end result might be for your tessellation project. I would recommend coloring every other one. You might look at your tessellation pattern and you might see a face or some funky kind of shape. You use your imagination and create something out of your tessellation project. At first I looked at this and thought maybe it could be a wolf, maybe it could be a person with a really long nose, but I decided to go with a cat and I made it have whiskers and a collar. So you use your imagination and trace everything with Sharpie just to make it nice and bold when you're done. All right, so I think that does it for our tessellation project. Thank you for watching, and I hope you've learned something. Thanks, guys.